this is what caught my attention.
And that from the way the buck-off happened to the hang-up, but...
Eyebrow cat, whoa! A chance for the whole country.
One of the top bull riders in history with a PBR World title, the most rides ever in PBR history, the only rider to cross the 600 ride threshold. I'm talking about Guilherme Marchi, and he requires no introduction. However, it took him a lot of years to reach the top rankings, and it wasn't always easy for him. Sustaining injuries, facing losses, and struggling to perform as well as his competitors, it took sheer dedication and time for him to emerge as the best. But how good was he in his prime? In today's video, I'm discussing the exceptional career of Guilherme Marchi and how he dominated the sport as a pro. Born on July 22, 1982, Marchi belongs to Brazil and began riding bulls in his teenage years. His older brother used to ride bulls, and this motivated Marchi to follow his brother's footsteps and get in the game. But unlike some other professionals, Marchi's parents were always scared of the sport and didn't support him and his brother. Yet Marchi continued riding, and before long his skills were polished. But there was still a long way for him to go if he ever wanted to compete in proper championships. Soon afterward, Marchi began taking an interest in local bull riding events in Brazil and attended them. Now he always dreamt of riding in front of a crowd, but getting a chance, especially when you're a beginner, is pretty difficult in Brazilian local events. He continued practicing his riding and made sure that he acquired every skill he needed to maintain control and balance. Now this was done all in the hopes of one day being able to participate in a local event and show the world how good he really was. But this was not an easy feat, and he had to work hard on himself. Yet he was motivated by just one thought. He wanted to become a professional bull rider. Little did he know, he was going to face numerous challenges before he could reach that pro title. At the age of 16, Marchi got the chance to participate in several local bull riding events, but his performance wasn't good enough to make him a professional. Regardless of this, he was extremely into the sport, and his dedication was remarkable. He continued taking losses with dignity, and if he won any events, he'd stay humble and respectful. These characteristics made him a favorite and also increased his skills every day. Now, by the time he was 17 years old, Marchi had dominated the local events, and he officially became a professional. But this didn't mean he could enter the big events like PBR or Mossy Oak shootouts just yet. It took him a long time to qualify for such events. This period was significantly difficult for him as he was only participating in local events, and he needed to get his name on the PBR list. But good things take time, and Marchi had to wait for several years. In 2004, Marchi migrated to the U.S. and came with the determination to become one of the best bull riders in the world. What he didn't know was that his opponents in America were seasoned professionals who'd eat a beginner like Marchi for breakfast. Well, it became immediately clear that Marchi was gonna struggle for a bit, but for how long? That year, Marchi competed in the Championship Bull Riding Tour for a short period and couldn't rack up any significant wins. But he wasn't going to let this get to his head. That same year, he joined the PBR full-time and made his debut in the Built Ford Tough Series. This was precisely the opportunity he needed to prove himself. But he already had a taste of what the bull riding scene looked like in the U.S., and he knew it was going to be extremely competitive. Now, would he be able to make his mark this time after failing at the Championship Bull Riding Tour? Well, let's see how it all went down for him. The start of the PBR season was pretty rough for him. Nevertheless, he fought through and shocked everybody around the world. As a newcomer, his performance was exceptional, and he immediately became known as one of the greatest riders of the tour. At the Built Ford Tough Series in 2004, he made a qualifying ride for his first ever PBR World Finals, a chance that was Marchi's dream since he turned pro. However, winning the title wasn't going to be an easy process, and he faced a lot of challenges throughout the event. At the PBR World Finals, he was bested by several riders, and he couldn't keep up with their speed, points, and control of the bulls. Unfortunately, he couldn't even excel as far as he wanted, and he ended up as the world's 41st best rider that year. Losing the event was a pretty big deal for him, But at the same time, the fact that he qualified for a world final in his first year at PBR proved to be a source of motivation for him. And the next year, he entered the PBR World Championship with a newfound passion for winning, and he dominated every event, every bull ride, and exhibited skills that were simply remarkable. Against him was Justin McBride, one of the best and most appreciated bull riders ever. It didn't seem like Marchi was going to beat McBride despite being in great form. Now, as was predicted that year, McBride emerged as the champion after defeating Marchi, who took home the second position. But this wasn't where Marchi was going to stop. He knew he had the potential, and he was going to be a champion soon enough. At the PBR World Finals in 2005, it seemed like Marchi was a changed man. He rode with a different finesse, and every ride seemed like he was in full control of the bull. Every competitor, including some of the most popular bull riders, were amazed to see his performance. Now, towards the end of the World Finals, he dominated the rides and took home the PBR World Finals title with him. Now, this marked his first ever massive win in his professional career. But still, there was a lot of hurdles to jump in order to sustain the form that he was in. In 2006, Marchi qualified for the Mossy Oak Shootout and won that year. However, he faced a devastating loss against Adriano Merez at the PBR World Finals when Merez came from behind and won, pushing Marchi to second place. In the 2007 season, Marchi faced a similar fate, but this time the PBR World Champion in 2005, Justin McBride, defeated him once again to claim the PBR World Finals title in Las Vegas. This was the second time Marchi secured the second position, and he was getting annoyed by it. But was he going to see success the next year? Now, although it didn't seem very likely and everybody thought that the odds were against him, Marchi absolutely dominated the 2008 season and rode 75% of his bulls at the PBR circuit. He won 5 events that year and took home more than $1.5 million in earnings. At the end of the season, he reached the finals of the PBR World Championship, and this time he wasn't going to let the opportunity slip from his hands. But he faced several challenges with his bulls, struggled to maintain balance, and with every stump, the title seemed to be getting away from him. However, in the end, Marchi turned the tables in his favor and emerged as the champion, winning the PBR World Championship title for the first time in his career and taking home a fat $1 million bonus. For the next few years, Marchi rode in several events and made numerous records. He became the first rider in PBR history to complete 600 qualified rides. But after winning the PBR Brazil event in 2018, he officially retired from bull riding, marking the end of what can only be described as one of the most amazing, inspirational, and awe-inspiring careers of all time. Today, his name's inducted into the PBR Ring of Honor, Bull Riding Hall of Fame, and he was ranked as the number 14 top bull rider in PBR history in 2023. Were you ever lucky enough to attend an event where Guilherme Marchi performed? If you did, let me know in the comments section down below. And if y'all liked the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you're notified as soon as I upload my next video. Thanks for watching, y'all. See you next time.